for late. I'm sorry for late. Yeah, my friend, photojournalist from Wall Street Journal, just back home, and I need to I need to manage some couple of stuff with him. So sorry.
No problem. No problem.
No problem.
Alors, Carine, you want to start? With...
I can start, but first I can introduce myself. Hello, Marek. Cześć, Marek.
Hello, cześć.
Cześć. I'm Carine Dolek. We are doing a project with Nine Lives magazine, which is a very specialized in photography magazine in France, and the Deutsche Fotografie Academy, to spread knowledge about what is happening, but what is happening right now as a conflict of identities and geopolitics also, and to raise awareness about the cultural meanings of this war as a cultural conflict. We have been in touch, we have free talked with a festival. We just spoke with a photographer who explained what is to have a family with different mindsets from Russia, from Ukraine, and whatever. What are the different realities that are right now clashing? Because that's also this point. And we'd like to have you also, so you can explain your work, but also who you are and why you are working on Ukraine for so long, and what is, you are Polish, it's in Ukraine, it's you did a lot of conflict photography, but you have also a documentary and anthropological background. What makes the difference? And for example, how did your photography change, and how you see things, and how you want us to perceive that, keeping in mind that it's to be directed on a very specialized audience in photography, visual art, and cultural operators in Germany, for example. So if you can tell us more about yourself, about what you are doing right now in Ukraine, what is your everyday life as a photographer, and so on. And I think the guys from the photography will have a lot to ask too. And I want really to thank you so much for making it possible.
Yeah, I'm happy that I am able to say something about work here in Kyiv, because I'm focused on Kyiv and towns and village around the Kyiv mostly. So this is my main topic. I thought about maybe I should travel around, but yeah, it's like it's a different strategy. So I decide focus about Kyiv. With sound, it's everything all okay from my side?
Yes, fine. Fine.
Okay. I'm asking because now, yeah, I'm on the stairs, so yeah, it could be some kind of echo. So yeah, and yeah, I'm documentary photographer, and I can say this is my first profession. So I'm working with photography. I'm graduate photography department, but also I graduate cultural anthropology. I was on PhD program.
Oh, broken up.
On a
Peter, ça aiderait peut-être si vous enleviez votre vidéo, vous aussi.
enlève ton image peut-être, Peter. Coupe la vidéo, comme ça il
va se retrouver tout seul aussi.
C'est pas grave. Comme ça, est-ce que tu nous...
Okay, Marek, we can't hear you anymore. It's stopped. Now that we've cut our video, does it help a bit? No, Marek, get up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have some problem with internet.
That's okay.
I'm back.
So please, you were talking about your documentary work.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. My basic profession is photographer because I graduate photography. So yeah, it's and I'm working as a photojournalist. Is my basic profession. But I because I also graduate cultural anthropology and I was a PhD student. I try to combine the cultural anthropology and photography together. If I somehow could describe how could be how cultural anthropology could be useful in photography, I think the first thing probably for me most important it's understanding. So yeah, every skills that give us opportunity to better understanding the topic that we are covering, it's useful. So
And how would you say anthropology help you in photography? What makes the difference?
Yeah, the first thing is this general, I think, point of view, and this is some skills, some method of better understanding, I think, the reality, because yeah, it's a part of studies to develop our skills in understand meaning, understand context, and during our field work, we are trying to develop these skills, and yeah. So this is the general stuff. And in daily life, I think it's also useful to see small things that have meaning. Like, for example, we are able to see some signs that are looks like not important, but they in the context they have deeper meaning, and it's good to take pictures of not only of pictures that are following the main topic, and they are, for example, much more connected with photojournalist work, but also try to see this smaller stories, smaller signs, smaller situation that give the context. And I'm not saying that cultural anthropology is only way to see this smaller or topics from the background, but it's useful, I think, because cultural anthropology in anthropology, this is important part, like, you know, and the reality is also built not only from great narration, but also from a daily life perspective.
And I see that you are working for years on Ukraine. You did a great work on Mariopol. You did a lot of work there for years, really, and a lot of other conflicts. Is it something that attracts you? What do you want to show?
Yeah, I can say I'm not a war photographer. I'm documentary, maybe social photographer. This perspective for me is the closest. So I'm not focused on about war situation, but I'm interested also different topics, like also urbanist topic and or post-conflict or my also ongoing project is about COVID pandemic in Poland. So I usually try to let's say see something what is not such obvious in topics that are maybe sometimes it's are actual, but I'm not interested only in news photography. I can say that I'm not a fan of most of the news photography because it's going too fast. It's focused only about current situation, and it's for me it's much more important understanding, and using photo camera is for me it's a great opportunity to have chance to discover the topics, let's say, and develop the documentary narration. So
for you, documentary photography, as you practice it, is a way to give more room to reflection, right?
Yeah. I think I'm prefer long-term projects, and I prefer to let's say focus about less topics, but going deeper.
I read something that you said years ago about this work you did in Mariupol. It was very interesting for me because you were saying that it's also about populations who are trying to escape the Soviet mentality. They are trying to shift and to think by themselves. Can you tell us more by this?
I think this war, currency war, this war, Russian invasion to Ukraine, and this war, it's also the part of this escaping. I mean, it's somehow next step, because yeah, for many reasons, but I think from geopolitical level, it's like the Russia who is trying to somehow maybe not directly, but somehow try to following the memory of Soviet Union and this imperial kind of thinking, and Ukraine society wants somehow turn to European standards, being more European country, less post-Soviet, and this is for me. I read it the situation like that. It's a great historical choice, and let's say in geopolitical from geopolitical way, Russia don't want Ukraine to modernize. They want to have influence for Ukraine, and only if Ukraine is not on the way to Europe and European Union, they have influence. They could influence, so they need to stop this process. But it's also, I think the situation. It's not only geopolitical on geopolitical level, but also under this daily level, because the problem of Ukraine, it's that the big part of the country was under Soviet Union for like 70 years, And also in the beginning of 90s, the modernization was not such quick and not such deep. So this Soviet impact, it's quite hard and quite deep. And I think it's one is decision, a political decision, and second thing it's changing on this daily life and mental level, and maybe it would be somehow even more difficult, I think, because one thing it's winning the war or defend the country, but second thing it's being able to make change deeply, and I think this could be maybe even more difficult because it's much more difficult to change the social rules, the law rules quickly. Like, for example, there's a big problem of corruption, and it's not only corruption in the business, but also in the corruption in daily life. So people are used to corruption, and changing their behavior in this everyday level, it's much more difficult than changing the, I don't know, for example, the some official state opinion about.
I think this is also something you're showing very much in your pictures. You're looking at it very directly. It's combining straightforwardness and gracefulness.
Thank you. I don't know. It's difficult to have opinion about own photography, especially that especially photography for this moment, this last 1 month. It's for me it's this last month it was like 2 weeks, so I don't have distance. I'm still in Kyiv, so I'm still in this situation. So I think some part of this topic will be for me much more obvious from the distance, after my return to Poland.
But then now, how do you work every day? Like, you're making pictures and you edit immediately and you put them on Instagram, or do you wait some hours or you wait some days? How is your working routine?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here officially because I'm working for my press agency from Poland.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my, let's say basic. But I'm not sending everyday pictures for my agency. I try to send when I think this is something that it's more combined with press agency photography. Other my occupancy here was for first 2.5 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks. I also try to collect pictures for the story for Polish magazine Pismo. So I try to make a story in the same time. And the last thing is I try to every day or almost every day try to updated some and updated some pictures on my Instagram. I'm not maybe so much focused about social media, but I try to use this as my the most personal point of view about this war. So yeah, I feel free to explain and show my impression about war.
And you said that you are more personal in the social media, but you tell a lot of stories. You said that a Russian soldier crashed your camera. Does it happen? Does it happen often?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was because we try to follow. We volunteers. We entered to Irpin, and because in those days Russian troops started some action, or I don't know how to correctly describe. They took part of the Irpin, so town where we were, and from which town we tried to with this evacuation convoy, try to evacuate people. So my car stuck in Irpin. Irpin is the city near to Kyiv. It's like satellite of the Kyiv. So my car was there, and since my car was there, I tried to also help a little bit in evacuation people from Irpin. But when I have opportunity to took my car because there was a bigger evacuation convoy. I took a part of this convoy, and when I was crossing the Russian blockpost, because Russian took the way only way back to Kyiv. Yeah, the Russian the politics is to take all equipment that are able to record or take in pictures. So they took one of my phone and my camera and my flashlight. I don't know why flashlight, and they they shooted my camera by Kalashnikov. So yeah, this is the history about my camera, and it's 100% true.
And I
Do
know.
you still have the camera?
Pardon?
I'm just asking Marek if he still has the camera, because it's something to keep.
Yeah, because when I was in Irpin, I took my friend Chris Oczychon, he's Wall Street Journal photographer, for last, let's say, trip to Irpin, and in the last moment, so just before I left to and drive toward the Stoyanka blog post, and just before I joined to the evacuation convoy, I gave Chris one of my camera, and he moved out from Irpin like many people who was evacuated. So there is a broken, destroyed bridge, probably quite famous now, and he took my camera. So yeah, I was in this during this convoy only with one camera, and one camera, one friend of friend borrowed me camera in Warsaw, and one journalist took them from Poland to Lviv, and from Lviv to Kyiv. Ukraine volunteers bring this camera. So, and I have like on the beginning 2 cameras, but one is borrowed.
And I also have a question about how you're making pictures right now, because you're not a war photographer from the beginning. You're a documentary photographer. You're not. You went into this gradually, but even though you are making very straightforward pictures, is it something you're doing from the beginning, or did you came to that way of making pictures?
Yeah, the first thing is that I tried to follow and war in Donbass since 2015. I was in during the dignity revolution on the Maidan. I have in those time finger operation, small thing, but I wasn't able to be a part of Maidan. And it was my mistake. I think in 2014 I was focused on about my PhD studies. So first time I visit Donbass in 2015, but since 2015 I tried to cover and try to follow this topic. And I think from the beginning, for me, much more important was the situation of civilians than military topics. Of course, during the war, military topics are also important. It's a basic, but yeah, because for me it's much more important the situation and the safety of civilians. From the beginning of my documentary in Ukraine since 2015, mostly I was focused about civilians, and the military topics are something for me like context. It's important context, but it's a context.
Oh, so I mean, this is why when you're making pictures of dead bodies, you still feel like you're seeing a person and not a piece of meat.
Yeah, of course, it's like it's a humans, and it was yeah. Let's say maybe I will describe why I took pictures so close to the person who was killed, and the history of this is it's connected of my attention. And first thing, it's yeah, I wanted to take pictures that are also evidence of war crimes, because
we were wondering that. You see, Christian and Peter, we were talking about this. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, because when you are taking pictures of killed person, and this killed person is anonymous, it's of course also questions about publishing or not publishing, and it's also important questions. But I realized during documentary this conflict that if I only took pictures that are strictly follow these rules that killed people are anonymous, I will not have evidence about war crimes. So this is the first reason. The second reason, when I was in Irpin, in the first day when I was in Irpin, I met local guy, Maxim, and he is a volunteer, and he's a great guy, very engaged in helping people. So I'm very admire his work, his volunteer work. And a couple of days later, he asked me, could I be able to help him to take the body of his friend who was shot in the first day of Russian activity in Irpin. And I told him, yeah, of course, I will help you. We are friends. And yeah, and when he drive me to the place, no, on the way, some volunteers stop us and say to us we should document precisely the situation. It's for maximum safety, that will be not used for anything. He's just volunteer and just someone who had to take the body, so he's observer. So, but also for me, it was important to have this evidence that couple of people, I don't know the scale of this, but I saw the couple of bodies there was killed, and not because of shelling, but because of machine gun fire. And because of both of these things, it was even more that Maxim asked. We document this situation with his friend. He was a famous Ukrainian actor, Pashali, so it was not an anonymous person. And after like 4, 5 or 6 days, we evacuated his body from the place when he was killed. And my pictures are only a small part of documentation. The most part of documentation is video reporting made by my mobile phone about the situation, where was the bullet, from which direction I was shooting. So let's say my documentary photography, it's a really small part of the documentation of what happened. And because I saw and I was part of this evacuation, the body of Pashali, and on the way back we saw another 2 bodies of killed persons, civilians. Because Pashali was part of the territorial defense, but this car when he was driving was civilian, so it's complicated. But yeah, I also made documentary about this another 2 persons that I saw this day, and I think it's it's important because maybe. First, it was a couple of days after they was killed, so it was not like this is not the situation that the families get this information for my pictures. The second thing, it was evidence of war crimes, and the last thing, it was also for me important that it's not anonymous person, but it's a specific people that were killed, and they were killed, and they were killed by shooting from machine guns, so it was not accidentally.
Okay, so this is also why, because I went on your Instagram account, you said very clearly that this is a war. This is a picture of a war crime.
Yeah, I think it's important to, let's say, I feel it's, I try to not, I try to say what I really believe. So if I see war crimes and evidence of war crimes, even it could be, let's say, a little bit dangerous for me in case I will one more time meet Russian troops. I think it's important to say that was war crimes, because facts should be facts. So we can pretend that facts are not happen if they happen. It's my responsibility as a photojournalist, as a documentary photographer, as a journalist, but also as a human.
What I really like in what you just said is that facts should be facts, and I have this feeling that this war is also a war for reality. That there is a reality on one side and a reality on the other side. And at the end of that war, it can be completely reconstructed. And it's important to have people like you and other photographers and journalists and everyday people who just help to build the reality that we will have at the end.
Yeah, of course, it's also the war on the level of propaganda for both sides, and of course, it should be obvious. Russia invite Ukraine without any direct reason, so it's obvious. It's not there's no not similarity, but
no doubt.
No doubt that there's no. I forgot Polish word, not the English. So just a second. There's no symmetry because one country invite another, and this war is because Russia and Putin want this war. So it should be clear that it's not a symmetry situation. But for other hand, some shelling of residential area in Kyiv, because I was able to say about Kyiv and also about Zhytomyr city, it was not because Russia wanted to shell directly residential buildings or area, but because, for example, close to this position was a military base or was the position of Ukraine artillery. So, yeah, from both sides, there's war propaganda, and we as a journalist shouldn't be followed this propaganda, no matter it's Ukraine or it's a Russian, but still I believe it's important to say that this war, it's because Putin wants this war, and this is the Russia fault because Ukraine didn't have any plans to invade Russia. But Russia have plans to invade Ukraine, and this must be clear. But in the same time, it must be clear that not all the information that Ukraine side try to show are exactly the facts.
Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody else wants to ask some questions because I'm asking a lot from the beginning, but you guys, you know very well the work of Marek for longer than me.
Well, but we were okay about the question, so no problem. I was thinking about your images from Mariupol 7 years ago, I think, the one we could see here in Montpellier. And in these images, yet we can feel the presence of the war, the danger very close. But could you imagine at this moment that the events would be what they are today? Was it imaginable in this context of tensions, of problems, hard problems between Ukrainians and pro-Russians at this period in 2014 to 2015, that the events will go to this situation?
Yeah, I think it's there are a couple of topics inside these questions. So thank you for this question. The first thing I think it's the situation since 2014 was development change, and I think this actual war changed a lot. So I mean, since 2014 to the beginning of this war, maybe the beginning to the tension before the war, it was like part of society was pro-Ukrainian, part of was say between, and small part, depends the region. In the east, sometimes not so small, was some of them was pro-Russian, some of them was just not pro-Ukrainian. But after this war has started, I think it's have changed a lot, and probably the Putin could be somehow called named the modern father of Ukraine nation. I mean, it wasn't his purpose, but people are angry, really angry, and they see how looks the Russian mir, so I mean the Russian world in practice, and they are really angry. And even I think the people that are before not such involved in political and in the they now for many people are now they are it's very clear that Putin is not a friend, and I think a lot of this war will change a lot in Ukraine society. What could I say about Mariupol? I thought, and many of my friends, also my parents, asked me what will happen, like I mean before the war, and I was sure there will be escalation in Donbass. Maybe Russia and separatists will try to get all Donbass and Lugansk region, and maybe something like that. But I really thought there will be not a big war, and Russia will not attack whole Ukraine. And I'm talking about this because I thought I will be my trip to Ukraine. It will be trip to Donbass, and I will be covered the topic, the new chapter of war in Donbass. And I thought I will be in also in Mariupol, and I will be able to develop the part of the story of war in Donbass in Mariupol. And because war started so quickly, in the day I thought I would be going to Kyiv and then to Donbass. The war began, and yeah, I haven't probably I have opportunity to visit Mariupol, but yeah, I decide maybe too late. I stay in Kyiv maybe too long. So I was in Mariupol now. So it's difficult to say about situation in Mariupol, but I can say about the atmosphere from the beginning of 2015. It was quite soon after the heavy shelling of Vostochny. Vostochny is part of Mariupol, one of the district, and the atmosphere in the city in the beginning of February, it was like that. we don't know what will happen. Maybe there will be separatists and Russian, and this time it was mostly the term separatist, not directly Russian. We try to attack the city. Maybe there will be some kind of search, but so it was like quite pessimistic and huge tension. Like a lot of companies they escape. I mean, foreign companies they escape from Mariupol. But a couple months later, in the summer, the atmosphere was completely different. The people they know the situation is quite stable, and the war is now, of course, not over. But there will be no battle inside of Mariupol. So yeah, I remember this atmosphere in Mariupol in 2015, and yeah, since 2015 I never thought that Mariupol could be the worst place now in Ukraine. It's like. Yeah, it's difficult to think about this, and I'm a little bit have this feeling that I should be there, but on the other hand, I know the last two Ukrainian photojournalists were evacuated because Russia knows about them and about their work. So it's like this kind of feeling, that ambivalence kind of feeling. For one hand, I think I should be there from the beginning because somehow Mariupol is an important place for me, and for other hand, maybe my work, documentary work in Mariupol, wasn't so good. Maybe it was too hard situation for me. I'm not a war photographer. Like I don't know. It's like I told, it's ambivalence feelings.
I have a practical question about what you just said right now, not about Mariupol, which is a bloodbath, and I hope somebody will keep alive that. You said that you are not a war photographer, you're not as prepared as they are. What is the difference right now between you and a war photographer?
I think the first, probably most important difference is the experience. I'm not following all conflicts, like, and of course, for my personal position, it's my opinion is that most of the war are bad. Of course, sometimes like war against Nazi Germany was something good, because this was the totalitarianism, and yeah, sometimes like war against some like ISIS. Yeah. So no, when sometimes even the war, it's something humanitarian. Sometimes probably there are some reason, but the most of the war are, from my perspective, my personal point of view, are something what is unhumanitarian, bad, and shouldn't happen. And it's because of interest, because of geopolitical and so on. the war topic for me, it's connected with in my imagination, my view about the wounded, hurt people, the fear, trauma. So I'm not the fan of war. So yeah, probably we should follow all the war topics and care about all humans that are under the war. So I don't want to say the war photography is not important, but I'm interested in the topic not because it's a war, but because I wanted to somehow tell the story more widely, and because of my abilities and my skills, probably I will not able, and my economic position, I will not able to tell the story about all wars in the same level. Here in Ukraine, for me, it's easier because for one side, in high school, I was learning Russian language, so maybe not good, but I could little bit talk in Russian because I'm Polish. I also little bit understand Ukraine, even I never learned. So I don't need a fixer. I'm able to work alone. So I can follow this topic deeper and long term, so I don't need to change one word to another because, for example, it's not enough intensive, and it's not enough present in the media. I can follow the topics that are, not such interesting for media in the current time, because this is not my purpose.
Thank you. I think I got a lot of information, and it was very interesting for me. I don't know what to ask more. Maybe the others.
The only thing I would be interested to know, well, not the only thing, but the one thing I'd be interested to know is exactly how you work, Marek. You're based presumably in Kyiv itself. You travel out as far out as you can against the Russian forces, or you stay within the city. How do you work alongside other photographers, or you meet up with other photographers, perhaps war photographers, or how do your days play out, for example?
It really depends the moment. Let's say every week it's different. In the beginning, it was completely not clear what is the situation. It would be the search of Kyiv or not, and it was completely different than now after 1 month. So also the ability and the access for press media are different. For example, around 1 week, not in the beginning, but well, I'm a little bit lost in the dates, but like maybe 2 weeks ago, we as a press was able to enter the Irpin, But after a week, when American journalist was killed, they closed ability to visit Irpin. And so my ability to cover this topic is also changed, because when Irpin was opened for journalists, I mostly some cooperate with volunteers. So I follow them. I try to help also, as because I was there and I had my card there. And so it was completely different. Now, for example, a lot of access are closed. It's much more difficult to get access to many places, many situation. It's most like that the clashes are around the Kyiv. I mean, in the Kyiv region. And journalists are not able to be in the first line or near the first line usually. So sometimes the most important, it's not the part of photographing, but this strictly journalist work, like make contacts, preparing logistic, and sometimes even there's a lot of try and a lot of attempts. It's like, for example, we receive information that we are able to go to the front line. Then next day, the day that we should be able to do this, there is no. They say there is no possibility. So it's like it's like the planning. It's not for a week. It's planning for tomorrow. So it's working. It's like that, and because I have car, I try to, and because I also try to some cooperate with other photojournalists. Not only because I have only it's only useful for me, but I think we should support each other, and I mostly work with Chris for Wall Street Journal, but also with two freelancers. One is from Spain, and Alberto, and one is from Israel. It's G. So we try to help each other, and I think this cooperative it's also important, and sometimes it's also because of safety stuff. For example, like you see, I have some not nice meeting with. We still don't know. It was the territorial defense or police or military, but some really stupid guys, and I have this very disappointing, let's say that, meeting with them. And my Israeli friend photojournalist saw this situation. So so it's like we are still trying to manage this situation, because it shouldn't happen. They shouldn't beat journalist, and I have someone who saw this situation. So it's safety stuff, that you are not alone. But I need to remember about this, because I like to work sometimes alone, and I'm used to this from my other projects, but sometimes it's better to share the topics with other friend photojournalists.
And in the situation, I mean, we see the news footage of Kyiv, and it's terrifying to think that you can be in an apartment building and a Russian rocket falls on it during the morning, and nobody seems safe. Do you feel, apart from being beaten up by presumably Ukrainian militia who didn't like you being there or something like that, do you feel generally reasonably safe in that, or is it where you are in Kyiv, or is there a fear all the time that missiles will fall on the hotel or the place where you're staying? It's very hard for us to imagine living under that in that situation. I don't know if you can describe it or help us understand it a little better.
I think there are two topics in one. One is of shelling missiles, because I think it's for civilians. It's somehow Russian roulette. I mean,
and for you, presumably, too.
Yes, but I'm living in center, and there are some parts of Kyiv that are much more under shelling, like west part, yeah, people in the part of the Kyiv that are mostly under shelling, the situation is worse, but still it's like that. It's not like it's not clear that, oh, this building could be shot, because it would be this building, there could be building just 1 kilometer from this building. So yeah, there are parts of Kyiv that are much more dangerous because of shelling, but still this is the Russian roulette. I mean, no one knows which building could be hit. So this is one thing. Second thing, it's yeah, my personal feeling, and I'm live. So I mean, all day I'm not in the place I'm living, but at the night I was in a shelter only one time, and the night I'm spending in my place. And I'm not afraid a lot, because first, I'm not living near the places that was shelled. Second, in the center, the anti-aircraft defense are the strongest, because there is the officials are like parliament. So yeah, the anti-aircraft are here the strongest. And last thing that another important thing is that some missiles are because Ukraine position are close to these areas, like I mean, for example, a couple of days ago, it was the situation. It was some hypermarket was shelled, and the information was that civilian supermarket was shelled, but they thought that because there was some TikTok video that showed this, place and show the outgoing shelling from Ukraine position. But the truth is that first, Ukraine shelled Ukraine position, so outgoing, it was from area of this hypermarket. So Russian knew that the Ukraine army are shelling them from this position. They have drones, they have satellites, they have mathematics, so it's easy to find the place of artillery position. So it was not the fault of TikTok. Even they showed the outgoing shelling and the hypermarket. But some people they get paranoia, and this is the problem for photojournalists, because when the local people, I mean forces and mostly the territorial defense, but sometimes also police, sometimes soldiers, but a little bit less, get this paranoia that all pictures are because we are spying, or it could be dangerous and stuff like that. Yeah, the tension it's higher, and it's much more difficult to work. And my situation with when someone forces punched me 3 times, it was connected with this paranoia, because it was one day after, and after I took pictures of the civilian line to supermarket, so completely normal situation, not connected with taking pictures of military position even. Yeah, this sometimes this paranoia, this completely stupid perspective, like don't understanding how media works, how is the from which sources Russian they are which sources they are using, like military sources are. TikTok, it's not changing anything. And yeah, this situation like that making our journalist work much harder, because it's much more weaker access and much more higher tension and fear so it's like that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that.
I have one last question on my side, because that's something we have been asked a lot at the beginning. What is the more efficient way for us and anybody, any civilians on the West? What do people need? Is it buying Airbnb rooms on a website? Is it helping? What can we do on an everyday basis?
It probably depends also the place we are, because different abilities have people that are in neighbors country to Ukraine, different people that are far away.
Let's imagine I know the Polish are doing a lot, and we see that, but what is, for example, for the Germans, because we will talk to a lot of Germans, and for the French?
I think the first important thing is to understand that yeah, that Putin it's not a normal regular in this meaning politic. It's and current Russia it's not the same country as Western country, and to realize that someone who is lying, he will be lying. And I think this is important because for somehow we as a West, we as a European country, it was our fault that we helped Putin regime to grow up, and I think this is the important thing, that realize that if you wanna believe in democratic values and human rights, we need to somehow, as a societies, as a citizens, open our eyes and see the facts that it's not anti-Russian narrative. It's not anti-Russian phobia, because it's not against Russian. It's against the regime. So we should stand against the regime, and not only Russian regime, but all regimes that are breaking the human rights, the international law, and so on. If you want to live in better world, better future, I think maybe it's not a direct help, but it's important. And other kind of help, one it's current, and it's like, for example, helping foundation that helping in many ways, like helping people that are abroad, helping people that are staying in Ukraine, and helping Ukraine volunteers. So it's many ways to support direct help and direct aid, like buying medicines, like rescue abandoned and homeless pets, to support education of children that they are abroad, or they have the education was stopped. So I think it's many ways in this supporting the direct help, direct aid. And also, I think it's important to think that it's not a crisis for weeks, months, but maybe for years. I mean, even the war will soon end. We need to remember that Ukraine decide they want to be a part of Europe, and we need to support they change. And we need also support the rebuild of the country. So it's like effort for long-term effort, not like a short period. And we need to think about this in this category, I think, because if we will not think about this category, soon we will be tired of the situation, and we will not follow the information. And this will be the worst, I think, because the scale of destroy infrastructure, but also the traumatize the society will be huge, and it will be a long-term process to back to the let's say normal life.
Thanks a lot. I think it gives us a lot of perspective. I will just ask you some little things by the end, because it's been an hour and a half and I think you're so tired now. I'd like to put a link to something I saw something on your Instagram about a zoo. Can we put a link to help that zoo be on the article?
Yeah, of course, of course.
And I'd like to make some screenshots of the pictures I saw on your Instagram. Is there 2 or 3 of them you'd like to highlight more?
I think it depends our personal sensitivity.
Your choice.
For me, yeah, for me, I think the 2 topics are the most closest to my sensitivity and my empathy. First, it's what happened in Irpin. So I mean, the skilled people that the people that are stayed there, the evacuation of rentiers. Maybe because yeah, I was the most closer to this situation from if I compare with other things that I saw until the current moment. And the second thing, yeah, because I care, of course, about humans, but there is, let's say, a lot of support of humans, rescue people. Of course, there's a lot of also some action to help Ukraine pets, but for me, it's also important the situation of animals in this conflict, because yeah, the civilians are not fault the situation. Like I told, for me, it's obvious that it's Putin's aggression, but still the animals, the pets, are somehow in the worst situation because they don't have impact for nothing. So you know, some of them was abandoned, some was of them homeless, and now there are less people that could feed them. So it's like there are a lot of pets that are much worse situation than before war, and it's completely not their fault, and they are innocent, like a child. So yeah, for me, this is an important part of the story, and the important part of this that I want also document the situation of not only the humans, but also the pets and animals, but mostly the pets.
Okay, thank you. I'll have a look on this, and really, thanks a lot. It was a very, very interesting and very deep, long and developed talk, and it's so absurd to have a talk with someone in a staircase talking about the war outside, but I wish you luck.
I think it's, I know, let's say, I think it's important to discuss this about this war from many different perspectives, because I think like with all hard and traumatic situation, it's good to learn something and change something, and I think discussion from the perspective who is someone who is inside. Yeah, it's important, no matter it's civilians or foreign or local journalists, but also it's important to see and thinking about from outside, because it's also our problem. People from not only in Ukraine, but in other countries, I think, I believe, I hope the same like situation in Afghanistan. It's not only the problem of Afghan people. yeah, we are connected around the world, and every year more and more connected. So should I think it's my perspective. We should I think more global and more empathic. Because yeah, we have impact for each other as a humans, as a beings. So yeah, this perspective from outside is also important because we are all the part of this, even not all of us are in the place.
I think it's a good words. What do you think, the others?
A good point on which to end. That's exactly right.
It's important
Bon,
to see your personal work too on Instagram and not only the images for the press. I think it's very important to see your personal work too. Very strong.
Thank you. I try to. I think I will after around 1 week. I need to back for a while to Poland because of some private stuff. But also it's sometimes good to have a little break. Because it's easier to see much clearer the situation. But I think in the second part of April I will try to come drive again to Ukraine. Maybe not only to Kyiv, but. Yeah, let's see. So what will happen? Hope it will be the end of the war, and
yes.
not the capitulation of Ukraine. I am very believe in this. I hope there will be ceasefire and Ukraine could rebuild their economy, and they could. Start their way to European Union. I hope.
We all hope. We all hope. Alors, take care, Marek. Stay safe, and maybe we can do this again in a few weeks' time when things are changed and see how you feel about the situation.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks a lot, really. And take care, and I hope we'll talk together soon.
Yeah, thank you for talk. For me, it's also important to talk with you. It was pleasure, but also it's opportunity for me to think about this from the different perspective, not only from this daily perspective. And thinking about how to manage next day. So yeah, it's also important.
Good.
Thank you so much again, really, and have a good night and a safe trip back.
Have a good night and see you soon.
See you soon, Marek. Thank you.
Bye.